Yeah, I think it's getting a little bit more empty. Everybody needs to get to the airport. But I'm trying to shed some light on what we're doing as Quantron, but I'm not trying to sell you a solution, but rather talk about an industry problem. Because the transport industry is probably going through a very, very disruptive phase, moving to zero emission, going to digitization, and mainly small and medium-sized logistic companies are suddenly challenged by a lot of technology challenges at the same time. So I show you quickly just our video and the background. Here we go.
We can't see into the future, but we know that something has to change. Our planet needs our support. We are driven by doing our part in making the world a better place. Everything is in motion, every day, all the time. We and our partners work every day to make the transport of people and goods emission-free, sustainably, and without wasting resources. Our employees are the most important asset in the company. On our mission, we don't leave you alone. We help you with everything concerning e-mobility of commercial vehicles. People, animals, and nature must be able to breathe again. Sustainability is the heart of everything we do. We work every day for a better future. We give used and existing vehicles a second emission-free life. Whether transporting goods, transporting people, or even transporting our waste, we can only reach our goal with emissions-free vehicles. A future for us and our children. The world is changing now. We all are a part of it. Together, we reach the goal.
So a very quick one, just that you know, we are based in Augsburg. We are not a startup probably anymore, we are a scale-up. And we only do zero-emission solutions, electric or hydrogen, since our inception for the last 4 years. So if I would be standing here and doing a zero-emission pledge, it's not that we're going to be zero-emission 2033 or 2035. We're zero emissions since 2019. And we believe that we can help to actually decarbonize the movement of people and goods with integrated solutions. We're not just selling hardware, but integrated solutions. I mean, the transport industry, as you might know, is around about 17% of all global CO2 emissions. And maybe the number of vehicles, commercial vehicles, is lower than the number of passenger cars. But they stand for more than 50% of the CO2 emissions when it comes to transport. And I think what we see is regulators are changing. Clearly, what we see, and that's positive, that also the investors putting pressure on companies to go more sustainable. And last but not least, the consumers. I don't know, one or two of you here in the audience are Generation C, or we call it Generation Instagram and Generation TikTok. And that's good, because you can put pressure on brands. And if brands are not sustainable, you as a consumer today have much more influence putting that public pressure on these brands to change. So the brands in the middle are the ones which have to change. Anybody an idea how many passenger cars need to go zero emission to compensate for one truck going zero emission? Any number? Guess. More than 100? More than 200? 450 passenger cars are creating the same emission as one truck. Yeah, because the truck drives more, it consumes more, it emits more. So one truck, which runs 100,000 kilometers a year, replaces 450 passenger cars who need to go electric. That's a significant number. So you can imagine why the impact of decarbonizing trucks has a much bigger impact on decarbonization when decarbonizing passenger cars. And we believe we don't want to see these kind of trucks on the road anymore. We want to see them zero emission. But we need to also change the infrastructure from fossil fuel distribution to electric and hydrogen. and clearly also the infrastructure behind needs to change. And we are far away that this exists. If tomorrow everybody would drive an electric truck, you would probably see all the petrol stations being plastered with parking trucks, but unfortunately, no charging stations. So we're in the middle of a transformation, and we're way too slow. If we want to get anywhere close to our Paris Climate Act, the industry is not ready for that. But we try to solve a little bit the chicken and egg situation, especially when it comes to hydrogen, because we believe that hydrogen, especially for trucking, definitely has a right to play. You don't necessarily need for last mile hydrogen vehicles, especially if it's 100, 150 kilometers a day, but when you want to travel a couple of 100 kilometers or even 1,000 on a day with no downtime, there's currently no technology available to do that. And that's when we started thinking about that with Andreas, who was also there, and our founder, and we got into hydrogen fuel cells. We said we need to think holistically. We cannot just offer a vehicle. We actually need to start from the energy and sourcing green hydrogen to supplying our vehicles. And we just yesterday launched also our joint venture, also providing downstream services and an enablement platform for route planning. And therefore, we're dealing with a market, not just we, all the players, which is huge. The energy market is 2.5 trillion. Then you have, of course, the hardware market, and last but not least, the services. So that is a huge market opportunity, but we see that regulators are slow. We don't have one European strategy, which is the advantage of the US. In the US, you have one Department of Energy, you have 370 million consumers, and you have a huge amount of money going into this decarbonization strategy, but in Europe, we are still very scattered. So there is no silver bullet. You have to build that as an ecosystem. And how to build that for us is very clear. You need to start with the energy. And today we talk only about green hydrogen, but Andreas and us talked to one of our investors who's member also of Wasserstoffrat. Slowly we get also there that blue hydrogen might be accepted, and it's still a viable measure. But we need to also distribute that hydrogen, build the infrastructure, and then have the infrastructure on site for the dispensing. So this alone is what we started probably in Europe in 2010 for charging. So we're probably 13, 14 years behind on the hydrogen infrastructure, but it's desperately needed. So this is where we clearly partner already. We get green hydrogen very soon from Norway, one of the best places in Europe currently to harvest green hydrogen. Spain is probably another place. We have already established a joint venture, and we're talking to all companies who are probably here and elsewhere who are thinking about hydrogen, because we believe it's clearly you need a consortium of companies who work together. Not one single company can do that job. The other thing is, of course, one of our cores, and we don't have our truck with us, would probably just fit into the hall, the 44-ton truck. But we have already hydrogen trucks on the road today. With our partner, we partnered with Ballard Power, which is the oldest fuel cell company in the world since 43 years. And we put these trucks on the road. But we have also electric vehicles, for example, with IKEA, as you saw in the video in Vienna. So we have a lot of experience there. And again, we see the only way how you're successful is if you have partners who work bi-directional. You cannot solve this solution by being transactional and just trying to optimize yourself. It needs a number of companies. We have today 50 partners, a number of companies who have the same agenda, the same objective strategically, and do not just want to put lipstick on a pig and say we're sustainable. You need companies who take it wholeheartedly, like IKEA. And IKEA defined by 2025, 100% of their last mile deliveries going to be zero emission. And that is for us a trailblazer. And these are the companies we work very well with, because they put their money where their mouth is, and they say we invest. And we don't charge necessarily to the consumer. We're willing even to reduce our profits because we believe it's part of our mission. So here, for us, clearly, it's helping our clients and logistic companies, DB Schenker, Kühnenagel, IKEA, Renault, helping them to give them a solution. Not just a vehicle, but also today, as I said, we have, as Quantron, even being a small player, we have the widest portfolio in the industry in regards of zero emission with both technologies. That's why I said we are zero emission today. not in 2030, not in 2035 or 2040. And last but not least, we announced yesterday, and we had even Nico with us for a few minutes, that we are now building a marketplace where we're basically connecting the dots. And it's not our marketplace. It's again something which is collaborative. It's not an iOS. It's more like a Linux approach. We want companies to join. And one example, Ian, you come and join me in a second, where we have again joint missions, and we want to digitize also for our clients the entire value chain from moving electrons and molecules to fueling, to the truck, to CO2 accounting and greenhouse gas trading. So this is where we have, and I think, Ian, you can already join me, we have created what we call Quantron as a service. It is an integrated model with partners, whether it's energy partners, hardware partners, or also digital and financial services partners and fintechs, and in the future, not only for us, but for third parties. You could say it's a little bit the Airbnb of hydrogen and zero-emission mobility. You can actually connect the dots and bring partners on that platform, depending on what kind of stakeholder they are. And how it looks in reality, let's have a look.
The Quantron as a Service ecosystem comprises of Quantron Energy and Power Station, Quantron Inside, and Quantron Customer Solutions. Quantron Energy and Power Station coordinates resources and partners regarding the sourcing and sales of green energy and hydrogen. Thanks to our strong partnerships, we can also offer turnkey solutions in H2 refueling and charging infrastructure. Quantron Inside offers a broad portfolio of practical, zero-emission commercial vehicles with battery and fuel cell electric drive systems powered by hydrogen. We develop our vehicles in close cooperation with world-class partners to ensure uncompromising and reliable vehicle performance. Finally, Quantron Customer Solutions cover all areas and aspects required for operating your climate-neutral fleet, starting with the offer of customized financing possibilities, pay per kilometer including H2 and energy, after-sales services, the most suitable insurance coverage, digital fleet management solutions and telematics, and all aspects of your vehicle's life cycle till the end of life management.
So you see here, the chicken and the egg. It's not a metaphor, it's the real situation. So when we built that, as I said yesterday, we announced our joint venture with an Indian company because we think in Germany we're very good in mechanical engineering, but software, definitely you want to source where you have a lot of this brain power. We went to Hyderabad. It's actually the place where Microsoft opened their first development center. And we launched it already in India. We got some good mileage. We even had some greetings from Nico yesterday, Mr. Lindner, because we believe you need to build these bridges. And that's what we're doing. And and this is the platform. As I said, this is unique. It doesn't exist yet in Europe at all. So this is something which is ultimately indefinite scalable. And maybe at some point we can become, for the transport industry, what Salesforce is today for customer interaction. And that's what we're building into that platform. So it's all about fleet management, but it's also about insurance. Ian, where you will join me in 30 seconds. Everything about hydrogen economy, and you need GHG quota trading and data analytics. And I skip this one because Ian, you're here. Mm-hmm. And we talk a little bit about insurance as a service, because you joined us as a strategic partner. And what was the reason why you joined Quantron?
Well, first and foremost, I think it was the vision that to have a really 360-degree zero-emission transportation, and especially in an industry which is as, crucial in terms of growth, in terms of how they operate, and to have a vision where, there's a realistic roadmap and intention to achieve that is something that was really special that we found with Quantron.
Now, you guys are going spec very soon, right? A few weeks?
Expected in a few weeks now,
And you're building on insurance as a service since, I think, 7 years.
Precisely. So one of the key things, which I guess is true for any industry, is that the orthodox players or the old school players always find it difficult to change. And that's true also in the insurance industry, because we see that the requirements of insurance, so something like Quantron as a service, where you really want to provide the end customer on a per kilometer cost basis, right, which still works for them commercially. You really need to innovate how you provide them with insurance, starting with the policy product itself, followed by how you maintain that policy in terms of usage-based, behavior-based insurance, rewarding good driver behavior or risk mitigation approaches. And that's exactly what we've been building with Roadzen globally. Yeah. So basically for Europe, US, India, Middle East, Southeast Asia, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you choose Quantron to work with because we had a very similar vision, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the idea and also the execution. And those are the two key aspects when we are talking about Quantron exist, number one. And secondly, as you correctly said, these problems are not unidirectional, which means you need to have multiple partners to be really successful at what you do. And Quantron's approach, which is a partner-driven approach, which is a collaboration-driven approach, aligns with what exactly Roadzen also does.
Yeah, perfect. So, and I think the insurance market alone for transportation is huge. So if
Absolutely.
we can catch a small piece of that and make it more efficient for the driver, for the fleet operator, for the clients, because it's still a sector which needs to undergo disruption, right?
Major disruption, right? So because mobility overall is changing, whether you're talking about commercial, private, any sort. And one of the biggest changes is changes from an ownership-driven to a subscription-driven model. And in order to cope with that, and in order to cope with new products like hydrogen trucks or BEVs, the insurance market itself needs to come up with new products, and that's where Roadzen, with its platform and its data, really facilitates that.
Perfect. Yeah, I think we talked about it also on the hydrogen solution side and on the greenhouse gas quota trading. I don't know, have you heard about greenhouse gas quota trading? So when you register an electric vehicle, you can actually claim greenhouse gas quotas. If you have a Tesla, it's a couple of €100. If it's our electric bus, it's up to €15,000 a year, which you can reclaim. So most people even don't know that. And the process is fairly complicated if you do it manually. So we also have a partner here from Berlin, Green Air, and we can offer that service now in 4 to 5 countries already for commercial users. So, and last but not least, data analytics, what we want to look at. So this is our platform. So we are not pitching something, or we're not developing something which is on a PowerPoint, but it's actually real life. And this is a separate company within our holding structure, so to say, going live by end of this year with external clients. We already today have Quantron, which is us as a client under this joint venture. And we have Ito Motors. And if you Google them, Ito Motors actually sells and operates three-wheelers, electric three-wheeler taxis for people and goods in India. So we have basically vehicles on the platform in India, in Saudi Arabia, in Europe, and already in the US. And yeah, that makes it fairly unique. We believe we will help to decarbonize because this platform puts loose ends together. It makes it more efficient. It makes it monetarily interesting for everybody to be there. And yeah, so we see that, again, OEM agnostic. And we believe we need this kind of collaborative initiatives, which are cross-company, cross-border, cross-sectors. Otherwise, it's way too scattered, way too complicated, and nobody has a one-stop shop solution which is seamless to do the technology switch. So just a little bit on our products. And I think that brings me already to the end. So just show you, while we might continue the talk, a little bit the background. This is live, so this is not just a mock-up or a click dummy. This is already live. Where you can see the vehicles, you can plan the routes, you can see the state of the battery, state of charging. You can plan your fueling journey, your charging journey, and even with 2 clicks, you can claim your greenhouse gas quota. And we can do that for any vehicle, not just our own, if our clients come onto that platform. I think there's also a market for doing this together with you guys because you're also now rolling your solutions in multiple markets.
Exactly. And yeah, just to highlight, the partnership approach that you're talking about, this dashboard alone, I think, has 5 partnerships behind it, working on different components that are special.
Now, you're on the left-hand side on the column insurance,
Precisely. Yeah.
claim management, risk assessment.
Yeah. So from the dashboard itself, for example, you can do your claims management. You can even see the roadside assistance request, which is absolutely critical when it comes to fleet management. So uptimes, for example, is absolutely crucial. Then, of course, there's the carbon footprint and the quota exchange that you just talked about. On top of that, of course, at each and every time, you know exactly where your vehicles are, where your assets are, and how they're performing on the ground. So,
Perfect.
Yeah, a really good start already, I would say.
Okay. And we also decided that yesterday that we want to give the baby a new name. So we Christianize it. Let me see. And choose basically for both companies a nice name. We have still not named the product, but we clearly say if you want to roll that out and make it global, people have to easily recognize it. They have to understand what's the value proposition. And for us, it's just starting the roadshow right now. So thanks for giving us your attention on late Friday afternoon before catching maybe a flight to somewhere.
Or a few beers.
Or a few beers, yes. Okay, so thank you very much. And our company, we've named the baby Rocket. So taking that to an end.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Do we have any questions from the audience? I know it's late Friday. Great.
Late Friday, exactly.
How many countries are your vehicles in now, and will you be planning to go global? And if so, how soon would that be? I mean, obviously, in an ideal world, it would be today, but...
I think we have to differentiate between the platform and the hardware, because the hardware is always much more complex to get the hardware into a country, homologation, registration, while the platform, we're happy to go global tomorrow. We just need country champions, either on the insurance side, on the fleet operating side, on the energy side. But we have on the platform, we don't see any limitations. It's easy deployable. Your insurance product already works all over Europe, more or less?
Yeah. All across Europe, the UK, the US, APAC.
India.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the platform itself, it is super scalable. So I think we are an ideal target for somebody like Sequoia because they love platform ideas, and the platform is indefinite scalable, and it has immediate benefits. Whoever is a stakeholder who comes on the platform can have the benefits tomorrow, generating revenue, reducing cost, or just creating digital efficiencies.
Sounds good. I don't have anything to add at the moment.
Okay.
Any further questions? I will ask you one then. What do you think is, or what do you consider the biggest challenge in your platform becoming more commonly used and mainstream?
I think challenge is just acceptance, create awareness and acceptance. But I think technically it's so seamless. It's like using Microsoft Office, if you manage it, and it works. But it's very, very seamless, very intuitive. I think that's why we say we kind of decouple hardware and software, or hardware and platform, because the hardware is much more difficult to scale. It's much more CapEx intensive, and there you need to do market by market carefully, and more products in a market to get a critical mass. Also, hydrogen is not a plug-and-play technology in every European country, even today. In the rest of the world, while the platform can be completely disconnected from that and can serve any stakeholder immediately. So basically, just sourcing some capital and then making sure we find the right strategic partners.
And where would you see your biggest market?
Probably medium, long-term USA.
Okay. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you...
Oops. Sorry.
Do you fear any political limitations redistributing the product? So, for example, because you're a European product. So, for example, in the UK, would Brexit be a limitation? Or?
No, Brexit not. It's just that you have a steering wheel on the wrong side.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
I see Anand is laughing because he is also on the wrong side in India.
Yeah, I mean, no, as Michael said, right? So it's very important to differentiate between the truck, for example, the vehicle itself, and what we are trying to do with the platform. Because with the platform, you can scale much faster. You can enter different markets in a much more seamless way. And yeah, the approach that we're taking also makes it vehicle agnostic at the end of the day, which means that any fleet globally, if they are into zero emission or if they have a vision of zero emission, they can absolutely use us. And that's the overall position.
Fantastic. No more questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.